All right, so just a few words about BlockRocket. We are an early stage accelerator program for blockchain startups in Germany. So in total, that means, so there's three components that we try to focus on. So first of all, early stage startups. So we make investments into pre-seed and seed startups. The earlier in the stage, the better. We have a clear blockchain focus. So we focus entirely on the blockchain ecosystem when it comes to startups. And we're very active, or mostly active, in the German ecosystem. So everything that's related to the German market when it comes to blockchain startups, that's where the core of our network is based on. So in a nutshell, we try to find the teams that have the next big thing in the making in regards to blockchain. So if you know any talented teams or founders, then it's always appreciated if you point them towards our direction. Then also in a nutshell, so our program exists since roughly 2 years. Since then, we have picked up quite some traction. We have more than 150 applications since so far. We have like more than 50 people, 50 startups that we have like in our shortlist. So the ones that we have a closer look on. More than 5 that joined our program in the last 6 months, and our average ticket size is around 120K plus. Then we have quite a huge network of partnerships. So basically we're in contact in Germany and the DACH region with everyone who has more or less touch points with blockchain, ranging from banks, infrastructure providers, investors, bigger startups, tech providers, law firms, etc. So basically we're getting more and more a point of access for everyone who wants to have updates or more information about like what are the newest projects or things in the making in regards to blockchain. And we offer a 2-stage process for startups in our program. So first stage is like a shortlist. We make a quick due diligence, and then we decide if a startup gets part.
Ben, you muted. One sec, you muted.
Yes, now. Was I muted for the whole slide?
No, just for like 10 seconds.
Okay, cool. So we have a 2-stage part of our program. So we have a shortlist. So it's like a first quick due diligence for startups that we want to have a closer look on. And we have a second stage, which is our full program. So this is most of the startups we invest in, but also the startups we accompany with our program for up to 2 years. So we help them actively with a venture development manager that accompanies them for all the time in terms of intros, marketing, exposure, helping with fundraising, advisory on different topics they might be working on at that point of time. So we invested, so we have 7 startups in our program now, and we have invested more than €500,000 since summer 2020. So if you are a startup or you know a talented team, then please make sure to, or feel free to point them out towards our direction. We appreciate that, and we're looking forward to talk to new founders in the future, of course. So far, so good from my side. For the pitch session today, we have 4 startups that we invited. They will each pitch for around 5 to 6 minutes, and we have a 6 to 7 minutes Q&A session right after. I'll moderate the process. And the very end of the event today, we have a voting session where you as the audience can also decide which startup you found most promising from today. And now I would like to give the opportunity to our jury members. So we invited 3 reputable jury members to quickly introduce themselves before we start with the first pitch for today. So I would suggest, David, would you like to tell everyone a few words about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Benjamin, and thank you for having me here. So just by way of introduction, my name is David Vachev, and I'm the venture development lead for R3. So for a bit of background, R3 is an enterprise blockchain firm. Our purpose-built DLT platform's Corda. It was developed in collaboration with our ecosystem. So that's grown now to around 350 plus institutions. So my role there is within venture development. So we help early stage blockchain startups find product market fit. It's a continuous program, and it serves as the gateway into that ecosystem. So really looking forward to hearing some great startup pitches today.
Thank you, David. Then second jury member for today would be Sasha from Coinbase.
Yeah, so I'm Sasha. I'm I'm the country manager Germany for Coinbase. I think Coinbase is widely known. Before that, I'm relatively new to crypto. Before that, I spent, among many other things, I spent 11 years with Deutsche Börse in various capacities.
Thank you, Sasha. And lastly, we have Carola, who's a private angel.
Yeah, good morning and thank you for the invitation. Well, my background is mainly corporate, so payments and insurance industry, but also technology. In my private life, I'm an angel investor. I have a very good network across Germany and Europe and some good connections to the US. So I'm always trying to see if I can leverage my relationships when I invest into a startup. So I'm looking forward to the session this morning.
Thank you, Carola. Fantastic. Then I would say let's start right away with the first startup, which would be Emanuil from ispolink. Emanuil, can you unmute yourself and you can start screen sharing?
Yes, sure. Just a second, and I'm sharing my screen. All right. Thank you very much, Benjamin. My name is Emanuil, and I'm the CEO of ispolink. So I've personally encountered many issues and inefficiencies when looking for a job. And this is really not surprising. As a matter of fact, 67% of recruiters actually struggle to find people with the right experience and skill set. And there are several underlying reasons for that. The shortage of developers, the obsolete technology that most of the companies use, and lack of automated hiring platforms. Now, let me tell you how ispolink resolves all of these issues. So we are providing companies with all the tools in order to reach out to developers in fast and efficient manners. So we empower them to source the right people and actually apply to them with our internal AI-powered algorithms. We also streamline the whole hiring process and help them to save money, be more efficient, and of course, focus on the important decisions. So how do we differentiate? We leverage NLP for CV parsing, which means that the most important information from the CV is being extracted and fed into our matching engine. Then we are assessing candidates based on their tech stack, education, experience, and skills. We are automating the whole the screening. We are doing pre-screening for each and every candidate, which saves a lot of valuable resources. And what's really unique is that we are integrating crypto ecosystem within the platform. The main purpose is to actually tap in on the huge talent pool of blockchain developers, and we are going to incentivize them by giving them rewards when they sign up, when they refer friends, when they get verified, when they also do social mining and staking. The main purpose is to ensure user acquisition, high levels of retention and engagement. Now I'm going to demonstrate our product demo. Here we are seeing the login process, and these are the most important information for the recruiter: the accepted offers, the vacancies, the crypto company wallet, the latest messages and notifications. Here we are seeing an overview of the posted jobs. And then we go to our key feature, finding talents. So we are looking for iOS developer. And here the candidates are arranged based on the level of compatibility. In this case, we have 95% match rate. And it's important to know that these candidates haven't applied themselves, but the company can discover them. So once this candidate goes to the screen section, and we have all the sections stages here: applied, screened, interviewed, offered. And then we drag and drop it super easy. The recruiter can specify the salary, add an attachment, and send it. Once sent, the candidate goes to the hired column. Next, so how do we make money? We are adopting software as a service model with monthly and annual subscription packages. We have three main packages and revenue streams, and the pricing really depends on the number of employees and the seats that the companies will have. So the market is quite big. The ICT sector employs 55 million globally, and this number is expected to reach 63 in the next few years. In Europe alone, we have 6 million developers, of which 20% are changing jobs on an annual basis. Our user acquisition strategy is to partner with IT institutions like universities and academies to onboard their talent. We are also going to conduct hackathons on Gitcoin in order to attract developers. When it comes to customers, we will leverage our network, and actually we are board most of the blockchain firms on our platform and large enterprises in order to create brand awareness and penetrate new markets. We are also going to do integration with other ATS systems. So this is the competitive landscape, and you can see here ispolink stands out with key features like sourcing with AI, the crypto ecosystem, the match rate, and the video interviews. So about the traction, we already managed to create significant interest about our project. We have a significant following base, about 30K people over social media, and we have more than 10,000 signups. Our partners include Matic Network. This is a blockchain firm, and we are leveraging their layer 2 scaling technology for cheap and decentralized payments. We are partners with Ironhack, the largest tech school in Europe, and Junior Enterprise, which is an NGO with more than 30,000 young talent across 60 European countries. So we graduated German accelerator disruptors. We also plan to release the beta in 2 weeks. So currently we are raising a 375K, which will give us 8 months runaway, the ability to actually launch the platform within a few months, and also conduct a token sale. So this is the roadmap. We are here. We are hoping to close this one this quarter, and actually launch the private closed beta. Then you can see our goals for the next year. And briefly about our team, we are a team of builders with more than 25 experience in the IT and strong blockchain background. I've graduated the University of Sheffield and have a business background, having worked before for blockchain startups as business development manager. Nikolai, on the other hand, is a senior engineer with 6 years of experience, who was also working for SAP. We are a diverse team. Some of our team members are located in Europe. We have a designer in Germany, and some of the dev team is based actually in Asia. And if you're interested, just feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be happy even to share our demo with you. Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks for your pitch. One quick question from the audience. Are you considering also freelancers in addition to full-time employment for the platform?
So I would say we are building more like a platform for full-time employees. It's not a freelance platform. So at this point, my answer is no.
Okay, thanks for clarification. Then, yeah, do we have questions from the jury?
Yeah, I have a question. Well, thank you for the presentation. I mean, I mainly understand that you use blockchain to verify degrees and as an incentive system because you're using tokens. And you also stated that you're the only competitor who is using the crypto ecosystem. But what are the benefits of the crypto ecosystem for the problem you're trying to solve? I mean, doesn't it limit you because there are some people who are not interested in this? That's my first question. And the second one is, how many users do you expect to recruit?
Thank you very much. This is a really good question. So the main problems that we are solving would be for the companies. So there is they don't have the ability to and capability to find the right people for the right jobs. So we are actually analyzing each job description, suggest them suitable candidates, no matter where they're based. So the main value proposition for them is the good quality talent pool, and also all the streamlined processes which we offer, and the pre-screening, of course. So the crypto ecosystem is more about the users and actually getting them on board on our platform and keeping them active. So companies, of course, if they don't want to, they don't need to interact with the blockchain, but rather use our tools to do to get the job done. So of course, this would be something we want to use, because our product has a good correlation with our users. Since we're building a product for developers and for tech people, most of the people in the blockchain space are working on open source projects, and we think this is a great way to target them and onboard them. So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. And the number of users you're expecting?
I think we will be I think we will be able to, when at the initial launch and with proper marketing and with the partnerships we have with some universities, we will be, I think we will be able to onboard several thousand users, 3K, let's say, initially.
Thank you.
Hi there,
yeah, David, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Definitely a needed segment of the industry. Obviously, as the industry evolves there, tech talent is very much in demand. My question revolves around how you fit in within that recruitment ecosystem. So if we look at, a few offhand, but like HackerRank and Gun.io, there's CoderPad, obviously then we move to LinkedIn. How does your offering fit into that ecosystem?
So I would say there the ecosystem is competitive. There are different solutions. Some are job sites, other are platforms like LinkedIn. They're primarily their primary goal is to connect to establish professional networks, although they have some hiring features, etc. But I would say we position ourselves as a ATS solution, which competes with, let's say, Honeypot and other similar platforms. And the main key differentiators is that we are focusing on a concrete business niche, that is technical people and highly skilled professionals. So we won't be focusing on any other segments.
Still room for one question, or?
Yes, of course, go ahead.
So I'm wondering about the commercialization approach. So are you selling company by company? So you have a long and expensive sales process, or do you have something smart in the making?
So our approach is actually flexible. So how does it work? Companies can choose the services they want. For example, they want only the sourcing. They're paying for it based on subscription. So this is self-serving. When it comes to attracting clients, we are also having in mind to build a lean sales team. We have representatives in some European countries, for example, Germany. We already have a person in Belgium who is willing to find clients to sell our solution to companies. So this is in general, how are we going to proceed?
All right, room for one more question. Okay, then I think we're through. Then yeah, perfect. Then thanks a lot for your pitch. Much appreciated. And now I would like to hand over to the second startup for today, which is Kedeon.
Thank you, Benjamin. Hi, my name is Reinis and I'm the founder and CEO of Kedeon, and I'll introduce you to what we are building and happy to answer any questions afterwards. Kedeon provides transparent.
1 second, sorry to interrupt. Do you want to share your slides first?
It should have been shared already, but
that makes it easier then to follow up.
Do you see it now?
Yes, it works. Perfect.
Perfect.
Go ahead.
Kedeon provides a solution for the transparent quality monitoring of for companies of any size for the food, medical, and last mile logistics applications. And we utilize our own purpose-built custom IoT modules that require little to no changes in the existing operations of companies and minimal training for employees. This way, we are able to protect companies from liability as well as reassuring end customers. And our hardware is quite unique, and many people ask us why we have a custom-built hardware. So number one, it monitors all the required quality factors that are required, such as temperature, humidity, CO2, light, and movement. It also uses LTE-M and narrowband IoT networking, which allows to monitor in the most challenging conditions possible through concrete walls, through metal sheets, up to, of course, a certain degree, but this has not been possible up until now. providing real-time alerts. And we also have a unique constellation of the platform itself. We have a crypto cell chip and a secured element. So each device actually creates its own identity and digitally signs each measurement. Also, the calibration certificate is saved on the same identity. This way we can ensure actually fully verifiable and provable measurements at any point of time. We provide a full platform together with both the hardware devices. So this is one of our devices. Together with the software platform and applications required by the people actually fulfilling the deliveries. The platform is easy to use by employees and contractors without long training necessary, using a simple if this then that logic, which aligns perfectly with quality assurance and supply chain managers in different companies. We also provide, using this verifiable data, we provide increased transparency to involved parties. This means the companies making the shipment or ordering the shipment and the business or end consumer receiving the shipment. These measurements can be checked on the mobile website or on the web portal or using API. We utilize Web3.js to actually do this from the technical perspective. The result that we see is that this solution is able to protect from liability, increase efficiency, and it's a way to stand out from the competition, increasing customer trust, confidence, and satisfaction. It's a highly growing market. Last mile delivery, which is our first vertical, and food delivery, medical delivery is growing much more quickly, even previously before COVID, and COVID obviously helped to grow even quicker. We started around 1.5 years ago. We spent quite some time on the development of both hardware devices and software, and we have launched with 6 customers in a different variety of verticals. We have B2C grocery delivery, B2B food product delivery, meat wholesalers, fish wholesalers, food logistics companies, and 2 pharmaceutical companies that are actively using our devices. Of course, the start was rough. There is a lot of moving pieces. We have adapted and offer a solution with direct results for all our companies. We have actively decreased the number of spoiled deliveries, increased their sales, as well as the reception with their customers. In regards to development, we have received initial funding from Overkill Venture Capital, and we have received 3 different Horizon 2020 European Union grants, which allow us to research and develop before launching on the market. And we're very proud to announce that this week we have received funding and have joined Techstars, which will help us to bring us from 6 customers to many more markets and to grow larger. And it's the right global network to help us with this. We have a wait list of over 100 companies in Western and Northern Europe, with whom we plan to launch within the next weeks, gradually rolling out to make sure, especially because we have the hardware component, we need to make sure that we don't go too fast in the very beginning to make sure that there's no issues that we need to solve beforehand. But we feel confident that we will be able to solve within the next 4 weeks to onboard all customers on our wait list and grow from there. And we do have the right team to execute. And this has been our core focus over the last 1.5 years to build out a strong technical development team, as well as a strong business team. We have people that have previously built IoT systems at companies like Mikrotik, people that have strong experience in product design, in hardware engineering, in software development, in blockchain development. And we do have the right team to execute quickly and to onboard and grow as expected. So, because we only have 5 minutes of presentation, I hope this gives you a brief overview of our business. We're happy to answer any questions regarding market, our product, our growth strategy, business strategy, pricing strategy. So please let me know what is interesting to you. Also feel free to connect me on LinkedIn if you want to see a personal demo or our case studies of our customers. Thank you.
Fantastic, thanks for your pitch. Then, yeah, let's head over to the question sections. Any questions so far?
Yes, I would like to ask you, well, first of all, thank you for your presentation. Where do you source your hardware from, and how do you protect your IP?
Let's start with the first question. We source components from different manufacturers. So because of a smaller company with a certain budget, of course, almost all of the components are not produced by ourselves, the components itself. However, we do combine and manufacture the devices here in Latvia. We have built our own hardware lab to be able to manufacture a couple of hundred devices from our own facilities, which will allow us to fulfill the necessary manufacturing for this stage. And we have the plans for larger scale production moving forward. So if you want, we can have a more in-depth conversation about which specific manufacturers we're using, but we can discuss this. We have of course, our custom firmware is what drives all of the interesting part, which we have developed over the past 1.5 years. We have a pending patent application for our both what happens on the firmware itself, and we also have a protected design of our PCB, which is a core component. And we believe as a startup, actually having a hardware piece is a way to, it's much harder to copy. So we don't believe that any competitor would be able to copy what we have built, because it took us 1.5 years with a very strong team and the support of local research and universities here in Latvia.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Any further questions?
Can I ask on, again, I'm going to touch on, thank you very much for the presentation. The hardware angle is very interesting. So you mentioned that you, rightly so, have limited future customers for the time being until you test and make sure that the product market fit is working and that you can deliver. As you grow and scale your business, how have you factored in the manufacturing elements of that and the distribution of that hardware as you go? Because your business model will then be limited by different factories, different distribution, and the hardware itself, as well as any faults with it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. This has been a core concern of ourselves when we started launching with customers. And this is the reason. So number one, we built out some of our team expertise is from people that have been on this journey before. So we have early employees of Mikrotik, which has grown to a very large scale. They have experienced themselves the problems and the solutions to moving from small scale production to a larger scale production, setting up relationships with manufacturers in foreign countries, let's say in the Asian market, to always have two different types of manufacturers to be foolproof if one of the manufacturers drops off. This is a work in progress for us to figure it out until the moment that we will need to do so. So we do have the strategy in place, but we will perfect it until we have to produce large amounts of devices. For our roadmap of the next 6 months, 6, 7, 8 months, we do have the capacity to manufacture here. The cost of producing the sensors is around 50% higher to do it here ourselves, but only at a very large scale. The savings of this 50% savings of device manufacturing will be large enough for us to actually make the move, because the main concern is that we need to make sure that we have the product in exactly the specification that we need for it to be. Right now, we can still learn from our customers. We can make adjustments quite quickly, adjust our supply chain, adjust our PCB, adjust our product. Once we move to the next stage, it's going to be much more labor and cost intensive. So we need to be careful. And this is the reason that we decided to move a little slower at the very beginning, starting with 6 companies. In February, we want to launch with 25 of the waitlist to select the best ones in a wide variety of markets, then move on to 100 customers. And then once we have validated that we don't have issues with our product, then fully focus on the growth and sales. And we do have the right partner, Techstars, which will help us to do so.
Okay, quick question from my end as well. Commercially speaking, what's your sweet spot? So in which kind of setting, industry, sub-industry, do you solve the hardest and most pressing problems?
So when we decided which industry to focus first, initially we looked at the whole food supply chain, which was the easiest to enter. The pharmaceutical sector, medical sector has the highest profit margins. It's very lucrative, but it's a much harder to sell industry. So while we do have 2 pilot projects also in the pharmaceutical space, we decided to focus mostly in the food sector. And here we saw that last mile deliveries has been is one of the least regulated markets. So it's the easiest to sell to in the very beginning to test our solution, because a lot of these companies are actually not using any type of solution for monitoring their goods during the deliveries. They're highly interested in having a solution they can implement quickly to gain insights and to get results from using the solution. Once we move to the wider supply chain of food products, there we will utilize what we have learned and the case studies and the results from last mile delivery sector in the whole food sector. And then once we gain credibility in this regard, we have a few certifications that we want to achieve for our product. Then we would have the right setting to also sell to pharmaceutical, medical, and other industries. And this also includes raw materials and some other future industries, but we try not to over-focus. We want to have a certain focus for each stage of our business.
Maybe one more follow-up question from Juan Manini. He would be interested to know which blockchain you use for tamper-proof record keeping.
Mm-hmm. So right now what we do is we have a Quorum, Ethereum-based Quorum implementation in place, and we actually have set up nodes with each of our customers, which is quite exciting because these type of customers never had an exposure to this place. So we actually give them physical nodes for our network. And this worked very well in the beginning, but we see that it's not going to be fully scaled with this kind of a setup. So we found our solution. We decided to move to Moonbeam. We will make this process happen within the next 2 to 3 months. The Moonbeam parachain on Polkadot will allow us to both enable us to have private, but also a public type of setting, because we have different types of customers. Some of them want to have this public exposure of data. Some of our customers want to only have the company making the shipment or the business receiving the shipment to have insights in the delivery data. And this will allow us to do both. So happy, if you're interested, please follow us. We will share more updates regarding our transition within the next 1 to 2 months, and then launch in 3 months. But for the time being, the Quorum implementation is still a very strong implementation, has worked well for the past months.
All right, thank you. Then thanks a lot for your pitch as well. It's quite clear, I think. Then we would switch over to the third startup for today, which is Sophian from Newlife.ai.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the previous presentations. It was very inspiring. I'm going to start by sharing my screen. All right.
Works well.
Okay, awesome. So hi, everyone. I'm Sofiane, co-founder and CEO of Newlife.ai. And at Newlife, we are creating a decentralized platform for social creativity in order to reach consensus on creativity. So what does it mean? It's maybe not obvious presented this way. So to clarify, basically every 10 years, there is a creative trend. So we can recognize each decade in fashion, in design, in art, in lifestyle. And so for brands, it's extremely important to be able to anticipate and to be part of the momentum that is forming around creative trends. So if you are, Starbucks is selling more than coffee. It's a culture. It's targeting a specific demographic that is rising. And the same applies with fashion and all kinds of industries. So I will focus mostly on fashion because that's the first vertical we are targeting. And it will be more helpful. So how does it work? At the beginning, a creator has an idea, and then it starts to gain momentum. And then it's being picked by luxury groups, and then Zara, H&M copy it, and then it ends up on Instagram, TikTok, and then it becomes mainstream. And so all the value of this IP is expressed during the early stages of the idea, where when you have one person wearing something, it doesn't have value. When everyone is wearing it, it doesn't have value. But when it's in a phase of becoming fashionable and everyone likes it, that's when creators, brands, and consumers need to capture that very specific sweet spot. And so today it's being addressed by media groups such as Condé Nast with Vogue, Elle, Vice Media, all those media groups. And we are offering a decentralized platform because we believe that the future is about crowds contributing as opposed to having editor-in-chief imposing their views on the world. We are in the age of social media, and so it's time to not only allow those communities to express their creativity, but also to have a reward system that allows them to earn money for their contribution. So the world used to be, the old life, let's say, is like what you see on the left. So it's those Karl Lagerfeld, Fashion Week, and all those institutions that were very exclusive, to a more decentralized and spontaneous, let's say, ecosystem made of peers that kind of validate one another. And social media has helped in that direction, but it has a lot of flaws. And the main one is that likes actually are great for the ego, but it doesn't really help creators to thrive. So at Newlife, we have created an application that understands consensus between creators. And so the concept, I don't know if you can see my camera. So when someone uploads the content, we unpack it through a neural network. So we can extract objects automatically. We can detect colors, hashtags, and all kinds of information. And then we ask a very simple question: how much do you like it? And based on how much you like, you can press your screen and hold proportionally to how much you like what you see. So people can just review content and press their screen if they like it. And each upload and each screen is recorded on the blockchain for IP and to protect basically people's IP. So it's some kind of micro patent. And over time, data is licensed in the same way as music can be licensed to radio and all kinds of distribution platforms for creators to be rewarded. So on one side, you have the luxury groups, the tech industry, the gaming industry. All those people need to be relevant, let's say, with the current creative trends. And on the other side, you have prosumers, fashion designers, graphic designers, 3D modelists, and so on, who can submit their ideas and get feedback and get rewards. So the model is very simple. We take all this data, we integrate it into a graph database, and then it's being recorded on a blockchain, and then it's being licensed. So brands and AI startups can actually purchase very specific relevant data to help them make better decisions and to, let's say, stay relevant with the current contemporary trends. So the market size, it's about 50 billion. When you look at the 200 million most creative users of Pinterest, Instagram, and so on. The fashion art schools, which are a problem that we solve also because you attend those schools because you want to get inspired and to form a network. So we are this cluster where all those people meet and coordinate. And eventually the luxury groups and all those industries that rely heavily on IP and on the intersection of IP and influence. So the market today is addressed by three types of actors. The crypto creative tech. So this year is the year of creative tech in crypto. Then we have media platforms that reward their users and trend forecasting agencies. We believe that we are offering a model that is innovative compared to most of the NFT platforms, because at some point NFTs will run out of people to buy those NFTs. But we are bringing the money from the corporate that needs this data in order to make better decisions. And so we are also different from the media platforms because we are actually valuing data instead of selling people's attention. We are selling the IP that they produce, which is a much higher revenue per user. So the team is made of experts in the field of AI and fashion. So I myself worked for 10 years as a publisher and consultant for luxury groups such as Chanel, Dior, Burberry. And Madeleine is Solidity and COO. She's dealing with the users and helping with product design and relations with AI startups, because we provide this data to AI startups. Jacob is an expert in graph databases, so he's building the best backend to coordinate this data. And then we have advisors who are experts in arts and fashion. We have been validated by most of the industry experts. Grimes, the partner of Elon Musk, is using our app, and many of the leading design studios that basically participate in the formation of the strands. We have 15,000 monthly active users and 3 million feedback per month, 1,000 positive reviews on the Apple App Store. Our go-to-market is for now to focus on the creators. Then we have many steps, many ways to get to the final stage of brand adoption. And we are currently raising 800,000 through a SAFE with different tiers based on when the investors are joining. And we are planning to iterate on the product and get closer to market fit before we start doing marketing, because so far we didn't do any marketing. And we have on our board Farfetch, which is the global leader luxury distribution group, who take us in their accelerator. And yeah. And so basically the COVID slide, I believe is the right moment for this kind of transformation, because the fashion industry is in big period of turmoil and looking at opportunities to do their business differently, better, and interact remotely with creative communities.
Fantastic. Thanks for the pitch. Then, yeah, let's head over right to the questions. Any questions so far?
Okay, yeah, I'll jump in. Thank you very much, Sophian. Very interesting presentation, very interesting concept, and congratulations on the early adoption there. The question I had is, you are focusing initially on the content creators. How do you grab their attention and incentivize them to participate in your platform, given you have Instagram, you have TikTok, there's so many platforms out there, including Pinterest, as you mentioned, that has large, ample marketing budgets doing the same thing?
Thank you so much for this question. So there are the main value proposition of Newlife is that all those platforms are focusing on screen time and on trying to sell as much advertising as possible. And so they have built algorithms and data points, and all the product design is oriented around how can we get more users and more activity so that we can sell more ad inventory. With Newlife, we are applying a model that's more similar to the Google PageRank, which is we want to establish the authority of each creator in order to give a curation weight that is not based on how many followers or how many likes, but on actually who is following you and who is validating what you do, and what is the weight of the feedback that you are getting. And so, when you post something on Instagram, if it's too creative, you don't get likes. And so it kind of drives everyone into becoming this like mainstream influencer. And on Newlife is the opposite. We are actually encouraging people to be more creative because the algorithm is designed this way. And we reward people who have very, radical ideas as opposed to trying to cater to the edge, to the mainstream, sorry. And so that's what they like. It's like the fact that, oh, actually on Instagram, I have only 1,000 followers, but here I'm the king because, yeah, finally my value is being recognized by my peers. And so that's the value proposition for creators. And then there is this aura of the existing ones. So it's like, if you are in the blockchain space and you see that a social platform is used by, Vitalik and all those influencers in the crypto space that are not known by the mainstream, you feel, oh, I'm at home in this place. So that's kind of the way we have acquired users so far. We didn't do any marketing. It's really people who know some creators that are insiders of the space, and they're like, oh, if that person is here, I want to join.
Thank you. Can I just one follow-up question to that is how does the algorithm factor in creativity? Because it's inherently such a subjective concept.
Yeah, so we rely on humans, right? So if you look at, it's the same with PageRank from Google. They look at how websites link to one another. So they don't guess, that the content has high quality, but they look at cues between, different webmasters that create links to websites. And that's how they decide, okay, this website is very relevant because everyone is linking to this page. So it means they must be the most relevant for that specific keyword. And we kind of do the same. And in the same way as PageRank, one like, one vote doesn't work when you want to achieve that. It works if you want to, again, have like mass market and sell ads to, advertisers. But when you want to extract, creative value, it's more one like of one person can be 1 million times more valuable than someone else because they have skills. And so that's it's the same with Google. If you get a link from New York Times, it has much more value than if you get a link from some random blog.
Do you see a risk that, I would imagine that eventually if you have more and more creators that becomes almost like a community, do you see a risk that there's much copycatting? Because you said, I like this concept of micro patent, but I would imagine that often, especially in fashion, that it's a fine line between, absorbing something that somebody else has done in a creative way or basically just plain copy.
Wow, amazing question. Thank you so much. Yeah, actually, there is this Instagram account called Diet Prada, and they are specialized in this. Like they just launch viral, campaigns about big designers stealing ideas from younger designers. And so the reason why we created Newlife is because it's very difficult to apply, this kind of models to fashion. Like Zara and H&M are empires literally built on attending fashion shows and producing faster than the brand themselves. So we cannot really stop that, and we should actually encourage it because culture is like open source. Who owns the taste? Who owns the, I don't know, hipster culture or the, all those things are happening organically. And what we want is to incentivize people who credit back to their source. We want to also acknowledge that curators are actually even sometimes more important than creators because they are the ones who kind of coordinate and reach consensus. So in the same way as the Bitcoin algorithm, for consensus, if all the minds are hashing in the same direction, they get more reward and then they get more of this score. And in the same way as in the music industry, the copyright collectives, what they do usually is they try to allocate a score for each song based on how many times it's played in the radio. And then they take all the money from like the restaurants, the bars, and so on, and they redistribute on this per ratio basis. So we try to apply first this ratio, like how many percent have you contributed to the value, let's say, of this cultural innovation that's happening. And then whenever we're gonna have, clients, so we are in talks with Gucci Group and LVMH and all those like luxury conglomerates. When we start making deals with them, basically we redistribute in the same way as the, clearinghouse rights collectives organizations do. If you have 1% of the whole pool of creativity, then you will get 1% of the revenue minus our fee, obviously.
Just a quick last question is, one is, what's your geographical distribution of users? And two is, what are your commercial projections?
Right, so currently, obviously, trendsetters are mostly located in London, in New York, in Berlin. So our number one city is London. We have 50% of our traffic between US and Europe. And then we really want to cover the whole planet. So the only part I would say is like Central Africa, but we have a big community in Nigeria, and all the rest of the world is covered because we want this model. Culture has been defined for many centuries by a very small elite of Hollywood and the fashion weeks and all those like small clusters. And we want to invite everyone to the conversation and bring diversity of ideas and allow those economic incentives to flow, and that's also the reason why blockchain. When it comes to economic projections, so the thing is that we have this phase in between where we don't actually know how fast it will take off in terms of, if we have its network effect, if we have all the creators and no brands, then we won't get brands. But if we start to have 10 brands, then we will have thousands of brands wanting to join. So an interesting place to look at to see the interest from brand is WGSN. It's a London-based company that sells PDF reports. So they do kind of the same job, but manually. So they go to fashion weeks and they ask questions to people in the street and they fill like those PDF reports about trendsetters. And they have currently 75,000 clients and they make $100 million with those PDF reports. And we believe that we go a little bit deeper because we kind of virtualize the IP process and we have this ecosystem of AI startups. So to answer your question more precisely, I think that this year we have two options. Either we start getting deals with AI startups and luxury groups, and that would be awesome. And or we get visionary crypto investors to purchase our licenses. So we are going to create NFT for each, let's say, data license. And so we are going to sell some kind of real estate, like a tokenized version of the licensing pie, let's say. And we will cater to speculators on this. And so the goal is, yeah, we will try those two approaches in order to give us the 2 to 5 years that we need to really get total market adoption.
Fantastic, thank you. We need to move on, unfortunately, now because of timing reasons. Thanks a lot for your pitch. And for the last start today would be Jan from New York City.
Yes. Hello, good morning, everyone, and thanks for the great pitches. Thanks for having us. I'm Jan. I'm the founder of New York City. We're a young, early-stage startup from Zurich, aiming to make global collaboration more secure, transparent, and fair for all parties involved. Why can't I go forward? Yeah. All right. So what's the existing market that work is facing? So today's work concept is not working for most people. You work 9 to 5, you come home, you ask yourself, what did I do all day? And then, yeah, argue with your boss. 85% of employees actually feel disengaged. 23% are feeling burned. And 37% believe that their job doesn't make any useful contribution to society. So only a few are profiting, meaning the shareholders, the management, the boss, while you rest empty-handed, trading time for money, which kind of creates an unfair feeling, inequalities, and a wealth gap. And hiring a freelancer is actually a nightmare for corporates because the global work and investment structures are very tedious. When corporates want to access a global talent pool, there's a lot of legal and compliance issues. It takes a lot of time and is very costly. So what is our solution and how are we trying to fix this? So New York City intends to offer the world's biggest decentralized ecosystem for liquid workforce and liquid financing of project collaboration. So our goal is to enable the purpose economy, meaning that you can focus on what you do best, not working by yourself, but joining on-demand teams with merging the skills. Then we share created value with all workers within the ecosystem that create value. And we offer a sustainable new framework enabling freelancers to profit from the security that they had previously in their jobs. That means being insured yeah. So how does it work and what's the product model? So we're starting with a work supply. That means individuals or companies who are facing a complex challenge in the market, and they upload a work challenge draft through our smart work framework. That draft is being issued on our marketplace where work demand, meaning global talent pool, is reviewing work offers where they're specialized in, and then they form on-demand teams with complementary skill sets and suggest a solution to the client. So basically then you enter a negotiation process and finalize the contractual agreement. And as soon as you have a mutual agreement, the contract is being stored on chain. So as soon as the collaboration ends, the smart contract executes and the admin between you, your on-demand team, and the client is being solved for you. In a second step, we want to add the financial resource to project collaboration. by enabling individuals and corporates to invest in our ecosystem, either in individual projects or the whole project pool, and then earn dividends from it. So in a nutshell, we're revolutionizing the way we agree, perform, and settle global collaboration. So what's the market size? How big is the market? So first of all, we need to understand that there is trends supporting our business model long term. So first of all, I think everyone is familiar with remote work by now. This is going to go and stay as clients and the employers realize that there's actually more benefits to it. The second one is that employment rates will increase due to economic recessions. So people will look for jobs and something to do. And by that, the workforce could potentially grow to 80% working in the freelance industry. So taking these trends, we have a total available market of around 1.25 billion people growing. And of that, 30% are actively working in the freelance industry, whereof 40% are acting in the talent and knowledge economy, which we are targeting on, which is the serviceable available market of 150 million. And by 2030, we're aiming to take around 10% share of that. So how do we make money then? So we have two subscription options: the pay-as-you-work model, which most of the users will start with to simply get familiar with and see that they actually can earn money. So we will charge a 5% commission on the average transaction value. And we're calculating an average transaction value of 1,260 Swiss francs. This is pretty high as we're acting in the talent and knowledge economy and not in the gig economy. Then afterwards, most of the users would shift to a premium solution where they stake our work token, becoming an owner of the ecosystem and profiting from different perks as voting and governance on the platform. So, and with that, I want to thank you for your time, and I am open for questions.
Thank you, Jan. Yeah, thank you. Then, yeah, let's head over right to the questions. Any questions so far?
Well, I would like to know, I mean, there are plenty of platforms for freelancers, and some of them are quite established. I'm not an expert in this market, but how do you want to gain share from these platforms? And what's the real differentiation compared to these existing platforms?
Yes. So when we're looking at the market, there is centralized and decentralized competitors, meaning centralized that there is a middleman in between, as we know with Fiverr, Upwork, TopTal, all these big players who have a big, huge user base. But what we're realizing actually there, especially on the gig side, is that people are very unhappy. So basically they're left alone. They're working, competing against other people. It's really a lemon squeezer economy where you compete for cents. And then additionally, you pay big commissions to these players and you basically don't have a chance to make a living with the skill set that you have. So and how we want to differentiate each other is that we really say, okay, you have a talent, you have a passion that you're really burning for, but you don't like the rest of it. So in a simple example, you don't like accounting, but you like design, but at some point you will need to do accounting. So if you join an on-demand team and someone does the accounting for you and you guys have a agreement within your team, this kind of solves that problem. And by eliminating the middleman, we save you a lot of costs. So that's how we intend to really then take the user base from these platforms where there actually is a lot of problems and where users are unhappy and bring them into our ecosystem.
Thank you.
Maybe otherwise a quick question from my side. What would you say is the currently, like up to date, the best substitute to your current solution?
Yes, so from a centralized competitor, it would be TopTal, because they're focusing on really high skill labor, not this kind of gig which recurs very often, but you hire this person one time for a complex skill. So centralized, it would be TopTal. When we go into the decentralized economy, it would be Colony. They're San Francisco based, I guess.
Understood. And maybe a few words about how did you start with this idea originally? Like, what was your motivation or your kickoff to sit together and turn this into a company?
I actually myself was working on creative projects, and while traveling the US, I met a lot of new people, and I thought, hey, there needs to be a way to share passion with other people to work on purposeful projects, because what we see is you just go into a job and you go home and you don't feel satisfied. So people really want to make a contribution to big projects. So meeting these people and solving all this admin was very, very painful. And then I thought there must be a better way. And then I stumbled above these all centralized competitors that are taking the cuts. And then I got introduced into blockchain technology, and that's where things then quickly got moving, because I realized that all the pain points that are actually in the market could be solved in a decentralized manner, way more efficient, secure, and trustworthy.
Thank you. We have room for one or two more questions in case there's still some questions up. Otherwise, I would conclude. So thanks a lot, guys, everyone, for your pitches. Finally, we do the voting session. So we make it quick. For the jury, I would ask you to use the sheet that I've sent to you yesterday. Please start using it now. Make your pick now, the next minute or two. And Jan, I would like to ask you, can you please start the polling function for the audience? So everyone in the audience, feel free to vote for your monthly favorite. Which startup today did you enjoy or like the most, or you find the most promising? In a minute or two, we conclude the results, and we have a ratio of 50-50. So 50% of the audience vote and 50% of the jury vote. So David is already complete. Thank you, David. Still waiting for Sasha and Corona. Okay, thank you, perfect. We take half a minute to conclude. Yeah, if you have any questions right now, open questions to anyone, now is the time. All right, so then from our side, it's a close call. So the quality of startups today was really great. Thanks again to everyone. Our monthly favorite for today would be Newlife.ai. So first place for today. Thanks a lot and congratulations. We reach out to you separately the next day, so we're happy to make an interview with you, like a few social media announcements. To everyone else, thank you guys for your participation. I hope you had a good experience. Our next event, so we do those events on a monthly basis, will be on the 25th of February. So hope to see most of you there again. We try to use those events always to give new startups in the blockchain space the chance to get some visibility. So if you're an investor yourself, or if you are just a blockchain enthusiast or industry leader, then I think those events should always be a great opportunity for you to see what's the newest, what are the newest projects in the making. And yeah, so I would like to end it on that note. If you have any questions or any feedback, please feel free to follow up to me directly, to my team, or to Jan from Disrupt. And last word, as always, goes to Jan from Disrupt.